No.
Okay, go ahead.
This time, well, it was around the time we would be going home anyway, but it ended up being that we were going home for Aunt Alberta's funeral, Grandpa's Aunt Alberta. I mean, and we were going along. It was a beautiful day, and everything was going fine until all of a sudden the tire on our car blew. And Arnie controlled the car okay, and we got over to the side of the road, and he said, "Oh goodness, now what are we going to do? The little thing is underneath everything back in the little tire, you know, way, and oh, how am I ever going to get all that stuff out and packed in again?" And just about that time, a car semi pulls up behind us, and the driver gets out and comes over to the car and says, "Looks like you people need some help." And we said, "Yeah, we sure do." And he said, "You can see we got a flat tire, now we've got to get everything out of our trunk, and it's going to take forever." And oh no, he said, "I'll help you, we'll have that done in just a few minutes." He said, "We'll get everything out and get your little tire out for you." And so he did, he helped, he took everything out and got that out and got everything packed back in again and got the tire on and then he was telling us, "Now you be sure to drive real carefully, you got that little tire on there now." But we weren't far from the city that we had to go into, but we were getting late in the day by the time we had driven into this next place where we could get a different tire then. And it really was, sometimes the store might have been closed that we were going to. I think we got to it was a Walmart, I believe. We got into in their auto department, and they were still open there and servicing people. So we got a tire, and they put it on for us, and it got us all fixed. And then we couldn't stay in the motel we had been hoping to stay in, but we stayed in another one then, and continued on in the morning without, too much. Then it didn't cause us too much trouble at all. And of course this fellow wouldn't take anything for helping us again, the truck driver, and he just said, "You just be careful now and take it easy getting in there, and everything will be good." And then he went down, and so we knew he had turned around, and I mean that he was going the wrong direction, the other direction, because there's a bridge across. So he left us, took that bridge, and started back the other direction again. But he had been over there and saw it happen, crossed at a bridge further down and came up and helped us. Wow. And then it was just so fortunate that store was open, because most nights it wouldn't have been open. We wouldn't have been able to get the tire. We'd have had to get into some motel somewhere and wait for until the next morning. But here we got taken care of right away, and we got back for the funeral, and everything went fine. And we, again, God's help.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
That time. And then the last time was the last time that Grandpa drove. He drove out that year, and that was fine going out, and this was coming home. And see, then he was in his 90s, and let's see, that would have been 2010, I think. Pretty sure it would have been 2010, then it was 2011, and then he died January 3rd, 2012. But I think that's the way it was, because we went out and celebrated our anniversary to that time before he fell off the roof, or off the ladder, he did. But anyway, we got started, and everything was fine with the starting. It was a good day, and it was nice, and we got into, now here I am again with the name of the town. I can't think of that town that we got into. The first big town that we hit after leaving.
It's not Alamogordo or whatever?
No. Yeah, it's too bad I can't think of that now. It's the one where we drove then from, where we were living, where our house was, and into this other town up here, and that's where we picked up the road then that would take us up to Santa Rosa again, like the way we had been going. And we got up to that town, and we are going through just fine. Everything goes good, and we finally got to where we were supposed to take this one out to the left. It was to pick that up, and there's a big sign saying road closed, and not telling us where to go to find another one. And there we were. We didn't know what to do, you know. And so, well, we just backed away from that and just drove. We drove over to a restaurant and went in. There were mostly black people there, and they were very nice and took care of us there too, you know. And they were trying to direct us how we could go to pick up the highway we wanted to. Well, they finally got us headed out, so we wouldn't be able to. I guess we missed the turn. I guess we could have gotten up to our place where we usually stayed, maybe, but it was storming so bad by then, and lightning and storming and just awful. And there were tornadoes every place. Then the tornadoes had started, and we had been in a couple of restaurants and stuff asking directions, but we were headed out, you know, the right way. But here, and we got into one town. I can't remember the towns. I can look in my book, and I think I have them all written down. And we got to a filling station there. I guess we were going to get in there and get our bearings and find out where maybe we could stay for the night and stuff. And then there came a thing, you know, saying there's a tornado headed right for us there, and it just went that way from one after another. It was tornadoes all the time. They were heading right toward us, and finally we got up onto a highway that somebody told us there was a place down on that particular highway to take the turn to the right up there and drive. I don't know how far they said, and then we'd find this motel where said they had some room in there. So that's what we were heading for. And we got over there, and we thought we saw the entry to that, because here the place was right there. We took that entry, and instead of it being the entry, it was an off-ramp from the highway. The on-ramp had been further back and down, see, and then we came over, and this was an off-ramp coming up. But to us, you know, and then it was raining, and it was lightning, and it was terrible. And anyway, we got on that. When we got down to the bottom, you know, we could see where we were, and we said, oh my goodness, you know, and then the cars were coming down there, and we were kind of in a section here, like it went, here's the road we were on, and then the other one was coming down here, and there was like a little section down here with nothing, so we kind of pulled in there and just stopped. And then I saw all of these lights and stuff coming in from here, and I know there's no road back in there or anything, you know, that it's right where this off-ramp is running, and there's never coming in on a off-ramp that way. And that comes through, you know, and the lights, higher sirens going, the lights burning, and a guy comes out over by our car and says, you know, how did you get down here? And I said, well, we thought we were going into that place up there. But you just sit right here, he said, I'll take care of this. And he didn't ask us anything about it, you know, and then he went over and whatever he did, I don't know. And then he came back and he said, okay, now, he said, you wanted to stay there for the night? And we said, yes. And he said, well, you just follow me, I'll take you up there and get you in. And so we followed his squad car up in. He took us up there and right in, and he drove us up to the door to get into the where you go into the motel with their stuff, and there were people there to take care of us, and we got a room. We didn't even have to walk far in. It was kind of right there, and we just got our stuff in, and the fellow said, no, you know, just take care of everything here tonight. Get to bed as fast as you can, and have a good night's sleep, and everything will be fine in the morning. All the storms will be over and stuff. And he said goodbye and left. Not like an ordinary cop. He never asked us our names or asked us anything. And that again, I feel was God, because I never have seen any place where there would have been a road coming into an on-ramp. You know, they were coming onto the highway, and it's up in the middle here. And then this was the one off over here, you know. But that they came in from, it looked like they came in from back there. And because when we saw them, they were right on the edge of to turn on. And that was the craziest thing. And he was such a nice man in there that helped us, you know. And told us to have a good day the next day. And so we did get in there, and we got a reasonable night's rest, and we were okay the next day. And he was right. The weather was nice the next day, and everything was fine for us the rest of the way going home, you know. But that was a horrible night, going through all of those tornadoes, and you just can't believe it. And the way it rained and poured and lightened all the time, and oh, it was terrible.
And Grandpa was a pretty hardcore traveler, right? He liked to keep it moving. Didn't you guys even usually pack your sandwiches and your...
Yeah, see, he always put it on cruise when we were on our trips, so that way he wouldn't be driving over the speed limit, which you can do so quickly and get a ticket or something too, you know. So he always drove cruise, and I never had an accident in all those years we drove out there. And we know people, you know, so much younger than us that had several accidents over the years. But we never had an accident, and everything, you know, went fine. But I just say that I feel the Lord watched over us and all of these incidents that I've been relating to you.
And how many years did you guys drive down there?
Well, we drove out there for, let's see, we owned the house for 20 years, and we rented for, I think it was 6 years before that. So we drove out there for 26 years.
So 2 trips every year.
2 trips every year.
For 26 years, and there's only 3 major incidents. And
yeah, that's right. And then, and that, you know, with the help of the Lord, He didn't intend.
Those last years, you were the attention of our Sunday school classes when you people were traveling. I was like, okay, Grandpa Behm's going to be on the road, people. We've got to pray these people home, you know. So, yeah, that's funny.
But Grandpa was a good driver.